All due respect, like I said, I don't have anything personal against this court. I'm not a corporation, right? I'm a natural person. Where is the body of the crime, Judge? You went to law school, you're a practitioner.
I don't know because I haven't heard.
This may be one of the most disrespectful sovereign citizen appearances you'll ever see in a courtroom. From the moment he walked in, he was loud, confrontational, and completely unwilling to listen. He talked non-stop and acted like the rules simply didn't apply to him. The reason he's even in court is simple. He decided to drive without a license, as if traffic laws are optional. He honestly believed he could ignore the law and face no consequences for it. That mindset alone tells you exactly how this hearing was going to go. What really caught me off guard, though, was the judge's response. Her reaction was firm, controlled, and far more decisive than I expected. The way she handled him made it clear that his behavior wasn't going to be tolerated for even a second. I won't give too much away, but this hearing takes a turn that's both surprising and satisfying to watch. Let's jump into it and see how this situation unfolds. Afterward, let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially what you think this guy's level of awareness really is.
All due respect, like I said, I don't have anything personal against this court or anything. I just request that this court adhere to the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution and hold that these state statutes in which they have me charged with are constitutional based on the U.S. Supreme Court. And what is the case? The Cheney versus Winnebago Department of Social Services, there was a young child who the mother relays that the father was beating the child and the child died. The mother sued all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court held that no matter how bad or gruesome that this case was, when it concerned the case, that the states have no duty to protect citizens from other citizens. Anything that compels performance, there has to be a contract. And again, I reserve my rights under UCC 1-308 and the common law UCC 1-103.6. And it's clear, Your Honor. And I ask that this court, do their sworn fulfill their sworn oath under the Michigan rules, the Michigan Judicial Code of Conduct. The court is not to be swayed by public opinion or what the people may think or whatever it may be. Like the great honorable Judge Dalton A. Robinson. So every government is entitled to a Republican form of government, not a corporate. I'm not a corporation, right? I'm a natural person. The case law clearly breaks everything down, which everyone is in default. I just ask that this court dismiss this case at this juncture. If the court does not, I demand under the supremacy clause, the subpoena power of this court, to have Ken Worthy brought in so we can have an evidentiary hearing. Because how can a criminal prosecute or allege that I'm a criminal when they're committing all the crimes, Judge? Since I've been home, I've been making reports of police and other things, violations of law against me at the precinct. And no one listens to me. They just ignore me. But when people call and say, well, hey, Mr. McCurry did this, Mr. McCurry did that, they come, then it's found out nothing happened.
And under our state constitution, this court has jurisdiction. Furthermore, as far as discovery goes, I personally sent Mr. McCrary twice, and I have the emails, copies of the emails to show it if that's necessary.
What are the dates?
Dates are not on here. May 24th, which was last week, and May 5th.
Look at this sovereign citizen shaking his head like we all didn't just hear that he deleted the emails the prosecutor sent him days ago. He's sitting there acting confused, as if the evidence doesn't exist, even though the timeline is pretty clear. At this point, he's fully committed to sticking with his story, no matter how unrealistic it sounds. Honestly, it's so obvious he's not being truthful that it almost becomes hard not to laugh. Everything he says sounds more far-fetched by the second, yet he never backs down. The level of denial on display here is impressive in its own strange way, even if it makes absolutely no sense. That said, one thing you can say about him, and about sovereign citizens in general, is that they don't quit. They will defend their beliefs to the very end, even when the judge, the evidence, and everyone else in the room proves them wrong. It's like they believe that if they reject reality strongly enough, the law will somehow stop applying to them. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you respect the commitment, or do you think this is just denial taken to a whole new level?
I don't know, I'll give it's gonna take a couple seconds. One of those emails, the E is missing in there.
That's not my fault. They violate your order.
Can I
Yes,
talk?
ma'am.
Okay. So you should have received one of them,
Nothing.
Right.
and neither one of them came back as bad email.
Okay. All right, so Mr. McCurry, I don't know why you're not receiving discovery, you did not receive it?
He didn't send, can we subpoena Google and,
No,
litigate this and
This is
show that he
not,
hasn't
this
sent
is not a
anything?
trial, this is not an evidentiary hearing.
Well, can I say one more thing?
After we get done today, confirm your email address, you can even send a test email to make sure that he received it.
Well, he did. It showed me that he got my paperwork. He admitted in the last receipt that he received my
Okay,
paperwork.
and
So why would he send it? Well, why wouldn't I get it back? My email is legit. It's my phone right here.
okay,
Also a jurisdictional challenge,
let's,
right?
before we get to that, Adrian or Stetson, you want to respond before we create?
Yes, Your Honor, I do want to make a record. You know, this defendant has already availed himself to the jurisdiction of the courts of the state by admitting to having a driver's license. And also further add that the 10th Amendment has allotted and given complete powers to the states, which then allows the states to create criminal laws under which this defendant must avail himself to. I further add that, again, as the court has acknowledged, that this defendant has at least once received the discovery to his emails, to his correct email. So any more allegations of not receiving discovery would be improper, given that we have it at least proven that he has it at least once. And there have been no additions or corrections since the discovery was done the first time.
Okay,
May I
Mr.
respond?
McCurry, I'm gonna wrap this up, you can respond and.
Yeah, just briefly, if I may.
Sure.
Well, this young lady here to basically
Mr. Sessions,
respond, Mr. Sessions, to respond to her statements in Michigan. They're locking people up for not having a driver's license. I was compelled.
there are people.
But I
getting locked up
reserve
for-
my
for
rights. This was the
murdering
law.
people As well,
Pardon?
people getting locked up for murder as well.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying is the corpus delicti, they're going off written statements. You know the corpus delicti rule on the Michigan Supreme Court case, as well as the federal court case. Where's the body of a crime? They're saying ammunition, all this, that. Where's the guns at? Where's the victim at? Strangulation, where's all this? Where's the medical?
I wouldn't
reports?
know because we haven't
And
had
then,
an exam.
okay, but no, jurisdiction, once it's challenged, it must be proven by the people. This is state and federal law, from the Michigan court.
Honestly, I can't even tell what his strategy is at this point. I keep going back and forth on whether he's genuinely confused or deliberately trying to slow the whole case down. It honestly feels like it could be a mix of both, which somehow makes it even more frustrating to watch. At first, I thought he had no idea what he was doing. But the more he talks, the more it seems like he has just enough awareness to keep things dragging on. He speaks confidently and keeps the conversation going, which can be misleading, even though confidence doesn't equal competence. Unlike many others in similar situations, he isn't just yelling or talking over everyone non-stop. What really stood out to me is that he's trying to reference case law, even though it clearly doesn't apply to what's happening here. And when he claimed there was no victim or no weapon, that was the moment it all fell apart. This isn't even the stage where those arguments matter yet, and the prosecutor has already made it clear there's evidence on the table. We all saw what was presented, so pretending otherwise doesn't change reality. At this point, it feels like he just enjoys hearing himself speak more than actually helping his case. If he keeps interrupting the judge, it's only going to make things worse for him, not better.
So I'm demanding that they're already in default, but still again, I'm demanding jurisdiction be challenged, personal subject matter and territorial jurisdiction. Even when I was in prison, I had interactions with Kim Worthy, chief prosecuting officer for the state. I reserved my rights then in prior proceedings, as well as I was compelled to obtain a driver's license. And I reserve my rights. That's all the law mandates, that I reserve my rights, which I have done. And right now, this lady, Mrs. Prosecutor, I can't remember her name, and Mrs. Sisson, Esquire Sisson, and this gentleman here, they're in conspiracy and violating federal and state law. They're committing crimes, and I demand that their oath of office, their law, their license to practice law, amongst other things, be given to me, as well as their bond, as well as you, Judge, Your Honor. Also, like I say, jurisdiction has been challenged, and they have to prove it first based on the case law. which I have noted in this paperwork. They can't get around that. We can say, well, yeah, they're talking about reserving rights and all that. Okay, but still the law from the state Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, and federal jurisdictions clearly mandates that once jurisdiction is challenged, the person asserting jurisdiction has to prove it. And all they have is statements. Under the corpus delicti rule, out of court statements is not evidence, so these charges should be dismissed. Where is the body of the crime, Judge? You went to law school, you're a practitioner.
I don't know because I haven't heard testimony to know.
Well, that's not how it works with jurisdictional
That's
challenges.
how, you know, that way. So, do you have any last?
Well, I would like,
Statements, because I'm either ready.
okay, I would like to challenge jurisdiction again, which I have done from the onset of this case, personal, subject matter and territorial jurisdiction. State and federal case law is clear, in which this court being inferior to the higher courts must adhere to their oath of office, their bond, and so on and so forth, their license to practice law and the Michigan rules of code of judicial conduct, and must compel the people to prove jurisdiction, which they're asserting. Where's the proof? You have to show this court. That's at any stage of the proceeding, the law allows that.
Okay. So on discovery, I saw paperwork confirming the email address that you provided to the court is now the record, that discovery was sent. I'm not sure if it's an email, please don't interrupt. If there's another email you would like to be sent to, I will ask the prosecutor to do so. 2, for requesting license numbers from everyone. My name is right here in front of you. You go right on State
I
Bar.
ain't saying that.
RP numbers are available for you to look up as they are for any general folks. Okay. As far as venue, jurisdiction, and you mentioned this, you don't know whether I was appointed or elected, I was both.
This right here is a big reason why the court system feels so broken today. The process is already slow by design, but people like this make it even worse by wasting time on arguments that go nowhere. Imagine being a real victim, waiting months for justice, while a judge has to sit through made-up legal theories that have no basis in real law. The law itself is actually very straightforward. If you drive a vehicle, you need a valid license. There's nothing confusing about that. Yet some people convince themselves they've uncovered a hidden loophole that magically makes the rules disappear. What really stands out is the confidence they bring into court, even when they are clearly wrong. They argue, ignore established laws, and then act as if they are somehow winning, when in reality they are only hurting their own case. And the wild part is that this approach never works. Not once. Still, they walk away feeling encouraged because others in their circle praise them and tell them they did a great job in court. Sometimes it almost feels like they are trying to get themselves into deeper trouble. So I want to know what you think. Do these people truly believe what they are saying, or are they just hoping to game the system? My guess is it's a mix of both. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.